So this week we're going to be talking about one of the most talked about Camino topics, packing lists. Everybody online seems to share packing lists. What do I need to take? You know, what weight of things should I carry? How big a backpack should I carry? So that's what we're going to talk about this week. And I'm going to step you through my packing list. It's fairly comprehensive. If you've seen my budget video, it's kind of a bit like that. So I've got it on a spreadsheet. I'll step you through it. And then at the end of the video, I'll show you where you can download it. So you can download it and adapt it for your own use. So I'm going to be talking to you here on the camera, and we've got the spreadsheet on the computer with a webcam above it. So I'm going to kind of dodge between the two, and let's go and have a look at the packing list. Okay. What I'll do on another video is I'll show you these items. So rather than just talk about them on a spreadsheet, I'll show you these items as well if you're wondering what some of them are like. But I don't want to spend sort of hours and hours on this. Let's just run through it. I'll tell you where you can download this, and then you can play with your own packing list. So let's just make sure that we are recording. Yes, we are. So I suddenly had a panic that we weren't recording the screen. So here we go. I've split this down into different sections. So the first section is the walking section. This is what I'm actually wearing when I'm walking. So I start off with the pack. I use an Osprey Stratos 34 litre, including the pack cover that weighs 1.2 kilograms. You can get lighter packs. You can probably get down as low as 600 or 700 grams. You can have heavier packs. I wouldn't necessarily go heavier than that. The big thing about packs is you get something that's comfortable. Generally don't get something too big. Most people would say like 45 litres is about as big as you need for a Camino. But of course, part of that is your body size. So your clothes are bigger, your sleeping bag's bigger, and the time of year. So if you're going in winter, you're going to have a few more clothes. I tend to go in spring and I travel really light. So a 34 litre is ample for me. I tend to stay a lot in Casa Rurals, but I can actually fit a small sleeping bag in here as well. So on another video, I'll show you all the gear. So we start off with the pack. I also have a sack liner. I mean, you could use a garbage bag just to line the bag to make sure nothing gets wet. I have some very lightweight trekking poles, 316 grams for the pair. We could have a whole debate about trekking poles. I do not walk a Camino without trekking poles. Used properly, they are very good. Now, for our North American cousins watching this, I should just apologize. This is all in grams and kilograms. I would love to do it in pounds and ounces for you, but I haven't used that since school, decades ago. So I'm not sure how you do that anymore. If you like, comment down below. I'll put a version of this together in ounces, but do you actually use ounces and then convert them, was it 16 ounces to the pound, like I used to back in the UK? Or is your pounds decimals? So do you talk about, you know, 1 pound 4 ounces, or do you talk about 1.25 pounds? Comment down below and I'll see if I can do a pounds one for you. So trekking poles. I carry spare pole tips. So if you're doing a lot of road work, the trekking pole tips can wear out. And you might lose them. So when I'm walking with poles, I'm quite often taking them on and off, those little rubber tips. So if I'm on soft ground, I want the little tungsten spikes for traction. If I'm on a road, I don't want it going click, 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 so I put the rubber feet on. So it's possible to lose one. Then I have a drinking tube. You can check out one of the other videos to show our drinking setup, but I wear two just normal, like disposable water bottles. Although I don't dispose of them, I refill them, with a drinking tube. So I've tried bladders, don't like them. This works perfectly well. So there's a little tube that weighs 70 grams. If I wanted to cut it down, I could make it a bit lighter. Then I use things called hipster clips. These are little clips which go onto my pack straps and which I can clip in my water bottle. Just, have I got one here? Yeah. When I'm talking about water bottles, I'm just talking about this kind of stuff. So this is a big one. This is like 1.5. I generally walk with a couple of these single-use bottles, maybe 600 or 800 milliliters each, and I refill them. I'm not littering, I refill them as I go. They last practically the whole Camino. So those are the hipster clips. I've added about 1.5 kilograms of water, which is 1.5 litres, of course. I've added a little bit of weight for snacks. I've got a sun hat, which weighs 84 grams. Every gram's important. I wear lightweight gloves, 2 reasons. If the weather's particularly cold, it just stops a little bit of chill on the hands. But more importantly, the time of year I'm walking, it can be very sunny. And I find with poles, my hands get sunburnt. So I tend to wear very lightweight gloves. That's a lot more comfortable. And then the ultimate, I carry a trekking umbrella. It's a Eurosherm umbrella, but there are other brands, and that only weighs 222 grams. And I clip that into my pack. Do I use it to keep the rain off? Nope. It does keep the rain off. More importantly, it keeps the sun off. When you're walking in blistering heat, and I tend to walk April, May, even some days then can be pretty warm. There is nothing like it when there's no shade anywhere and you're using your trekking umbrella. It's bliss. You've got your own shade with you. And actually a byproduct of that, if you're wondering about the weight of the umbrella, I use less water when I'm using a trekking umbrella, probably 20% less water. So I use 1 litre of water keeps me going 10 Ks. I'm using less when I've got an umbrella, so it counteracts the weight of the umbrella. So then I've called it weather section. So I have a very lightweight fleece. You might have a puffer jacket, something like that. It's only 430 grams. I wear that in the evenings, and if it's a very cold start in the mornings, but layers are the important things with clothing. So I'm wearing, this is a thick merino shirt. This is a 250 gram shirt. I think that's 250 grams per square meter. They measure it, a bit like paper. I wouldn't wear this unless it was the middle of winter. That would be way too hot. I wear a 120 gram, very lightweight shirt, merino shirt. And so if it's very cold, I've got the merino shirt, I've got my fleece, and I've got my outer rain jacket. That's fine. I can walk in 0 degrees quite easily. So the fleece helps, and you might wear that in the evenings. I then have a Gore-Tex rain jacket and Gore-Tex rain pants. They are very lightweight, 400 grams for the jacket and just over 200 for the rain pants. There are 2 schools of thought. Some people love to use a poncho. It's overall probably a little bit lighter. They like the idea that it goes over the pack as well, easy to put on. Personally, I've tried both. I like to have the separate jacket and pants. Because the rain jacket acts as a windbreak as well. The rain pants give me that extra layer if it's cold and windy, keeps the wind off your legs, because hiking pants are pretty thin. I just find it works for me, and I'm bone dry. My wife and I have walked in driving rain with Gore-Tex rain jacket and pants, and we're totally dry when we get to the other end. So I just love them. Then there's the stuff that I'm wearing. So shoes or boots, that's a personal preference. Some people wear shoes, some wear boots, some wear sandals. It's a personal choice. I have to date worn very lightweight boots. They're 950 grams for the pair. My next Camino, I'm going to try trail runners. So they're a bit like, gym shoes, training shoes, but with a much better grip. Because they're a little bit lighter, a couple of physios and a podiatrist have told me that the boots being a little bit heavy are aggravating ankle and knee problems that I've got. But I love them. They're so comfortable. Then I'm wearing hiking pants and underwear. So my hiking pants are only 285 grams. Yes, and I weigh everything. The underwear is 50 grams. I use Under Armour underwear. Just a thing on clothing, forget cotton. No cotton. It's got to be wicking, easy dry, synthetic. Why no cotton? Because cotton retains moisture. So if you're wearing a cotton shirt and you're getting sweaty, it's going to stay wet and it's going to chill your body. Wearing stuff like that in cold weather could lead to hypothermia. So you want very lightweight layers, synthetic, where they soak up the sweat and they wick it away so your body stays dry. Cotton also takes a long time to dry when you wash it. So I've got a merino shirt, very lightweight, 120 grams, style like this, little zip up thing, but ultra light. Funnily enough, on my first Camino, I didn't want to wear merino because I thought it would be too hot. Because they're warm in cool weather, funnily enough, they're very comfortable in warm weather too. And I think it's because they wick away the sweat very well. I'm then wearing, I have a 2-sock regime, so I have an inner wicking sock and a thicker outer sock. So they're 43 grams and 79 grams a pair. Again, lots of different schools of thought on socks. For me, what works well is I have a regime where I put Vaseline on my feet, lots of Vaseline on the balls of my feet between my toes. I then put on this thin, I think they're polypropylene socks. Sounds weird, but some sort of thin synthetic sock. I then put on the thin inner sock and a much thicker cushioning outer sock. And in 3 Caminos, over 2,000 kilometers of walking, I have never had a blister. So I'm sticking with it. If I get a hot spot, I put in hiker's wool. Never had a blister. For sleeping, I do occasionally stay in albergues, but generally in private rooms. I just like my privacy and I snore and I don't want to upset other people. But I do carry one in case I have to, stay in shared dormitories and things like that. And in fact, on my next Camino, I'll definitely be using it because I won't have any options, I don't think. The Camino I'm thinking of walking primarily as albergues. So I've gone really lightweight. It's what you find with hiking equipment. It's a trade-off between cost and lightness very often. Again, there are a lot of schools of thought around this, but what I generally find, if you want ultra lightweight stuff, it tends to cost more. So, if you want to save a kilogram or 2 in your pack, the higher tech, more expensive stuff tends to be a lot lighter. A lot of people say you don't have to spend a lot of money for it because you might find it in secondhand shops and things like that. So I found almost the lightest possible sleeping bag I could. It's 389 grams and it's really comfortable and it's about this big. Again, on another video, I'll show you all the equipment. Then I've got spare clothes. I have 2 lots of spare socks. So I have 2 spare pairs of inner socks, 2 spare pairs of outer socks. Why? You could get away with 2 sets of each, but I like to change my socks during the day. Again, that's part of my blister prevention. Wet, sweaty socks are going to potentially lead to blisters. And so kind of halfway through my day, I'll actually let my feet air and I'll replace the socks with new socks. And the old ones get hung on the pack to dry out. And that really works for me. I then got a spare pair of hiking pants. If you really wanted to go ultralight, you could get away with one. But my routine is at the end of the day when I finish walking, everything I'm wearing gets washed. That's the first thing I do, and hung out to dry because I want to make sure it's dry for the next day. And then the spare hiking pants, the spare shirt is my evening wear. And that becomes my walking gear for the next day. So what I'm wearing this evening, I'm walking in tomorrow. So really you just need 2 changes of stuff. Honestly, just 2 changes, apart from socks. So, I've got lightweight swim trunks in this one because I'm thinking of walking the Via de la Plata, the VDLP next time, and there's a couple of old Roman baths. I'm not sure they want me swimming in my underwear. And I've got a spare pair of underpants, and then I have my backup footwear, and I have trekking sandals. So they've got soles like trekking boots, really good Vibram soles, but they are sandals. Again, lots of different schools of thought around this. People very often don't want to wear the same footwear in the evening that they've been walking in all day. I tend to believe that because if you're getting pressure on your feet and everything, you're going to have that pressure all through the evening if you're out and about going for dinner and things. Just changing your footwear is going to give your feet a break, and it'll be, pressure's taken off those particular areas because they're a different fit. And I like the idea of sandals because I can walk around with no socks on, let my feet air, or if it's cool, I can wear socks with them. The other benefit of having sandals as your backup footwear, I mean, you could have thongs, flip-flops as a backup pair for the evening, but I like the idea of having trekking sandals because if I have problems with my feet and I can't wear my boots, I can trek in the trekking sandals. So it's a good backup plan. I remember when I first walked Camino, the advice was make sure that everything you take or pack has at least 2 uses. So my trekking sandals are my evening wear, and if necessary I can hike in them. Then we're coming down to sort of washing and hygiene. So I carry a dry sack to put my washing in. I've got tiny little towel, toothbrush, toothpaste, wet ones. I carry those little wet wipes. I carry a little bit of toilet paper. Don't don't take it out of the cafes along the way. I have a trowel. It weighs 22 grams. It's a little metal trowel. I would always try not to go to the bathroom along the trail. You know, it's one thing having a pee. Doing something more serious is a bit grotty. Usually a couple of times on a Camino, I'll be caught with an upset tummy or something, and I just can't wait for the next cafe. And so I have this tiny little camping trowel, and I dig away and you know, bury the mess and take away the paper and all the rest of it. So I have little Ziploc bags for carrying that stuff. I floss. Shower slippers, yeah, I mean, I have these super lightweight, they're actually pedicure slippers, super lightweight. So in communal sort of bathrooms and things like that, they can be worn into the shower to save any infection on your feet. A little bit of soap, shampoo, some sunblock, deodorant. I don't normally take deodorant. I forget, maybe I take a little bit. Then medications, don't forget those. So I always carry half a dozen Puritabs. Maybe there's a different brand in your country, but this means that if I'm caught short of water, and I've been caught short of water a couple of times, it ain't funny. Being dehydrated also will exacerbate the problem with blisters. So hydration is really important, and walking on a hot day, running out of water is just not fun at all. So I always carry Puritabs, and if I need to, I could fill up from a bit of a dodgy water source and put Puritabs in. I've only ever had to do it once. I actually filled up from a little stream that was coming down a mountainside. I was very concerned that I was going to run out of water, so I mixed up about 600 mils with a Puritab. I made it without having to use that water, but it's you know, for 4 grams, it's worth having it. I then carry just a couple of denture tabs for cleaning my water bottle tubes, little tubes that I suck for water. Maybe once a week I'll just wash those out. And then I carry some general sort of first aid stuff. I have iodine, antiseptic. I carry lavender oil. A lot of people don't believe in essential oils. I do. Lavender oil is fantastic for sunburn and bites particularly. Put on a little bit of lavender oil neat, sting's gone straight away. I get very allergic to insect bites, so I carry a bit of antihistamine, I carry surgical tape, I carry Panadol, which is just, I think you call it Advil in the States, which is a painkiller. I carry a very strong prescription painkiller. This was on advice from my doctor. I have knee and ankle problems and tendon problems. And I said to her, you know, what if I get caught sort of, you know, 10 miles from a village and can barely walk? She says, look, I'll give you these, pop 2 of those, that'll kill the pain until you get to the next village, kind of thing. Obviously any prescription medicines like this do take your doctor's advice, but it just gives me a degree of comfort knowing that I've got those if I'm really struggling with pain during the day. And I carry Nurofen, which is an anti-inflammatory. So I'm taking Panadol and Nurofen through the day, usually 2 doses a day, under doctor's orders, because of the problems that I have in my feet. But I can easily buy those in Spain, so I'm not carrying a whole Camino's worth. And then there's a couple of other meds that I have to carry these. I carry a tiny bit of hydration powder. You can buy it in the pharmacies in Spain. A little sachet, and what I'll do is very often put one of those into one of my water bottles, and I find during the afternoon a little sip of something like that, it's got the salts and things, a little bit of extra energy is really good. I have Vaseline for my feet, I carry a few band-aids. I carry a tiny little thing of Aerogard, which is an insect repellent, because literally if mosquitoes and stuff bite me, I've got lumps everywhere. I carry a couple of sewing needles, a bit of thread for fixing anything that might break. But then we come down to communications. My current phone is a Galaxy S8, so yep, that gets weighed, and the charger. I carry a tiny little power bank, which is over there, I can't quite reach it, because I take lots of photos and videos and things during the day, so my phone battery kind of doesn't quite last the day, so I have a tiny little power bank. I have my Spanish SIM card. I carry a little mini grip tripod, which isn't within reach, but I'll show you some of the other equipment, spare SD cards. I carry 2 spare laces for my boots. They have all sorts of uses. And I carry a little microphone to put in my phone because I'm making videos. If I wanted to do some cooking, I would carry a little electric immersion coil. I've carried that once, but it's just for boiling water in a cup. I only used it a couple of times, so it's not on this list. I haven't put a weight against it. A small kitchen knife is handy if you're staying in albergues for cutting food and stuff, obviously. Perhaps you want to carry a mug, a knife, fork and spoon set. You can buy really ultra lightweight ones. Then there's all the documents. So this is as much a packing list for me to check off before I depart, just as much as it is checking in on my weight, how much I'm carrying. So I go through this a couple of times before I leave to make sure I've got my credit cards and my passport and all the rest of it. So I've got my driver's license. It's really just for ID purposes. I carry a photograph copy of my passport. I have my health insurance card. Totally other topic there. I make sure I've got health insurance. I have my airline card. I carry 2 credit cards and I carry 2 currency cards. So this is a topic all of its own. But because I'm coming from a country that doesn't use the euro, what I do as I'm saving for my Camino, I'm putting some money into a euro account, and that basically gives me a little card that I can use in ATMs in Spain. So it's already in euros, I don't get charged exchange rates or anything like that. So I've just got enough in there for my next Camino. And I have 2 of those, so a backup. In case I lose the card or the machine eats my card, my bank's very good, they actually give you 2 cards for each account. You're going to think I'm paranoid. I also have a backup account with a couple of €100 in it, and that one has 2 cards. For the sake of carrying a card, what the heck. And generally I'll carry a printout of some really important stuff like my flights and things like that and my passport. Then we've got some miscellaneous stuff. So I've got an adapter for the European plugs. I don't actually carry a guidebook. I scan them and put them on my phone. That's probably illegal. Sorry, Mr. Brearley. But I do carry the little map pages. I love Mr. Brearley's maps. The sort of the map of the whole sequence. You can see day by day. I love to carry that, and I make little notes on it. I carry a little headlight. I carry an Ultrasil day pack. This is so light. It weighs 70 grams. It's about probably a 10 or 15 litre pack. Why do I do that? A couple of times when I've been injured, I've had to send my bag ahead, and I've carried that through the day just with my jacket and water bottles and things. It's also really handy once you've checked into your accommodation, maybe you've checked into an albergue, and you just want to go out shopping, and you've got this tiny little thing which literally packs up, the size of this and weighs nothing. I have my sheep's wool for avoiding blisters. I have Achilles tendonitis, so I wear little wedges under my heels, and I carry extra ones. Don't laugh, but when I'm going up really steep hills, my podiatrist thinks I'm nuts. I put in extra wedges, so I've got about that much, and it takes all the stress off the tendons. He said, I've never heard of that. He said, what do you do when you get to the top? I said, take them out again. Don't need them going downhill. And I carry 2 of this sort of one-use type bottle for my water. And then I have a couple of safety pins, very important for hanging out your washing, and a little bit of washing line or paracord, and a couple of stuff sacks just to keep everything neat in the pack. So there's all the stuff that I carry. I don't think you need more than that, really. My wife carries the same list basically. Could you carry less? Probably. Yeah, you could probably take out the spare hiking pants, you could take out, a spare of socks, and there's a few things in there which could come out. So let's move down now to the summary at the bottom. And you can see the stuff that I'm wearing, the clothes and the footwear that I'm wearing weighs 2 kilos or 4.5 pounds. The stuff in my pack weighs 7.6 kilos or 16.7 pounds. And then there's a few interesting metrics that people often talk about. You'll hear people talk about the FSO weight, from the skin out. So if you were standing there naked, then all the things that you're going to wear and carry, how much does that weigh? So including all the clothing I'm wearing and the pack, it's 9.6 kilos. And then we've got the pack weight as a percentage of the body weight. And there's a little rule of thumb that people often talk about, and that is 10%. You shouldn't really be carrying more than 10% of your body weight as your pack. So mine is coming out at 9%. and that's got the weight. So my pack weight is 7.6 kilos or 16.7 pounds. And then excluding, remember I had the weights in there for water and food. Generally when people are talking about how much their pack weighs, they don't include the water and food. So I've actually got my pack weight down to 5.9 kilos, which I haven't got a conversion into pounds, so I have no idea what that is in pounds, which is 7% of my body weight. And I've put my target body weight in there to help with all the calculations. No, it's not 84 kilos at the moment, but it hopefully will be. So there we go. There's a packing list that you can have and play around with, and that'll keep your mind occupied while you're planning your Camino until you can walk it. If you would like that in pounds and ounces, do comment below and I'll see if I can put one together. But for now, that one's available, and I'll put a link down below. You can download it straight off my blog, and you can put your stuff in and all of your weights and things and start to play around with it. It's interesting, it's not being paranoid, but I use postal scales or kitchen scales, and I weigh literally everything that goes in there, because if you don't, a lot of these little things can add up a bit. And it's an interesting challenge, because you might be saying, well, I want to make sure that my pack is, 8 kilos or less, or something like that. And so you know exactly what it's going to weigh, and you can go through the lists and sort of, oh, do I really need that? Do I really need that? Maybe I can get a lighter version of that. So it's a bit of fun, and hopefully it will help you in planning your Camino. So thank you for watching. If you have any questions about the packing list or gear, do comment down below. I'd love to get lots of comments. If you enjoy the channel, maybe think about subscribing, sharing, liking, if you like it. If you don't like it, don't dislike, that's mean. But comments and likes and things like that are really interesting when you're running a YouTube channel, because it helps the YouTuber understand what topics people really like. So obviously, as I'm going through the various videos on the channel, I can see, oh, those ones are more popular. I can do a bit more about that kind of topic. So thank you for watching, and I hope you found that useful.